Trump landed in Ankara just days ago, and the Black Sea will never look the same. On July 8, 2026, Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey expanded the mandate of the Black Sea Mine Action Group, adding tasks that include protecting critical maritime infrastructure, underwater pipelines, energy facilities, and telecommunications cables, and maintaining a permanent naval presence in their zones of responsibility. That's the headline. But the question that decides everything for Moscow is whether Trump's move with Turkey has permanently broken Russia's grip on the Black Sea, and what that means for the war. Turkey regulates access between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea through the Turkish Straits under the Montreux Convention, which places restrictions on the passage of warships and gives Ankara a unique role in Black Sea security. That legal lever has been the backstop of Russia's maritime stranglehold since long before the invasion, and right now, Trump is pulling it loose. On March 1, 2022, Turkey closed the straits to Russian and Ukrainian naval vessels. The decision was based on the Montreux Convention, according to which Turkey is the gatekeeper for the Black Sea's only outlet to the open ocean. That single move trapped what remained of Russia's fleet inside. It couldn't be reinforced. It couldn't escape. Russia cannot deploy any new battleships into the area. The door was locked, and Ankara held the key. Ukraine hit that trapped fleet relentlessly. The ongoing war led to major losses due to Ukrainian missiles and unmanned surface vehicles, including the flagship Moskva and several landing vessels. There was also a 2023 Ukrainian missile strike against the Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol itself. On December 15, 2025, Ukraine used a Sea Baby underwater drone to disable a Russian submarine at the port of Novorossiysk, marking the first known use of the system in such an attack. Under conditions where the Black Sea Fleet is effectively locked in Novorossiysk and shows no signs of improving this situation, the alliance's activity will soon become dominant in the region. That's where Russia stands today, cornered in one port, hemorrhaging ships, unable to rotate forces in or out. Russia's inability to prevent these developments in the Black Sea has tarnished its swagger. Its loss of critical platforms, including its flagship Moskva, amounts to an actual degradation of Russian naval capabilities in the Black Sea. A fleet that once dominated a sea is now hiding from drones. So how did Trump shatter what was already cracking? By turning Turkey from a passive gatekeeper into an active military partner, and sweetening the deal in ways Moscow never anticipated. On the eve of the Ankara summit, Trump notified Congress of his intention to sell Turkey roughly 80 F-110 aircraft engines, a deal long stalled on Capitol Hill, to build its own fifth-generation Khan fighter. He also suggested he would like to see Turkey rejoin the F-35 program. For Ankara, these aren't gifts, they're leverage converted into loyalty. Turkey gets its fighter aircraft ambitions validated by Washington. In exchange, Trump gets Erdogan on board with a Black Sea security architecture that directly walls Russia out. Ankara is establishing a Maritime Component Command in Istanbul's Beykoz district, overlooking the Bosphorus, a development that could put Turkey at the center of future Black Sea security operations. According to a Turkish Defense Ministry letter dated May 18, 2026, the initiative is centered on the creation of a multinational force Ukraine, whose core command structure is being established in Paris. As part of the broader effort, Turkey has been tasked with planning and leading maritime security operations in the Black Sea. This is not a paper promise. Turkey has already begun implementing the project. A core staff composed entirely of Turkish personnel was established on August 25, 2025, to form the nucleus of the Maritime Component Command. 14 countries have since indicated their intention to contribute to the command structure, although participation in maritime operations will be limited to Black Sea littoral states, including Turkey, Romania, and Bulgaria. The architecture is already being staffed. The command structure already has personnel. What's happening in Ankara isn't a blueprint. It's the opening day of something that's been months in the making. Now circle back to the core question. Can Trump and Turkey's deepening partnership actually lock Russia out of the Black Sea permanently? Or is Moscow still capable of reversing what it's lost? Turkey leads MCM Black Sea, a mine countermeasures task group to ensure the safety of maritime traffic in the Black Sea, and contributes to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's Eastern Sentry mission to deter and defend against Russian drone incursions. That's active security projection, not symbolic posturing, and it's growing. The expanded mandate from July 8th now extends those duties explicitly to protecting energy pipelines and undersea cables. Every meter of critical infrastructure in the western Black Sea is now under the umbrella of a NATO-coordinated Turkish-led patrol. Russia watched all of this unfold from Novorossiysk. Moscow's response has been to escalate against civilian shipping, a sign of desperation, not strength. In the early hours of June 22, 2026, a Russian drone found the Victress, a Turkey-owned bulk carrier sailing under the Panamanian flag toward a Ukrainian port, and turned its bridge into a fireball. A 58-year-old Egyptian cook died in the inferno. That attack was not a one-off provocation. It is the latest episode in a sustained and escalating Russian campaign against civilian shipping in the Black Sea corridor that has intensified through 2025 and into 2026. Striking a Turkish-owned ship days after a high-level Turkish diplomatic visit to Moscow was not a miscalculation. It was a message. The problem for Russia is that the message backfired. Turkey is worried that increasing attacks on vessels in the Black Sea, including ships owned by Turkish firms, may destabilize maritime security. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has proposed a new, limited agreement between Russia and Ukraine to stop the attacks. Russia pushed Turkey, and Turkey pushed back by deepening its commitment to the very security framework Russia was trying to intimidate it out of. Turkey's most important contribution has been its ability to control access to the Black Sea under the Montreux Convention and to project reassurance. That control now operates inside a NATO framework, backed by American fighter jet sales, backed by a physical Maritime Component Command with 14 partner countries building into it. The math for Moscow has fundamentally changed. From an ally often perceived as unpredictable, Turkey is evolving into a strategic actor without whose contribution the North Atlantic Treaty Organization can no longer effectively manage the simultaneous challenges originating from Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the wider Black Sea basin. That transformation, from awkward swing state to indispensable maritime anchor, is exactly what Putin feared most. A fully committed Turkey, pointed westward, closing the straits and commanding the sea lanes, is Russia's worst-case scenario made real. Delivering United States liquefied natural gas to Ukraine would reshape the regional balance by further reducing Russia's energy leverage, hardening the resilience of Ukraine's battered energy sector, and anchoring Western interests in a domain Moscow has long held exclusive influence over. And that pipeline, literally and figuratively, runs through Turkey's Bosphorus. The Atlantic Council was arguing for this in February. By July, the command architecture to make it happen is already being staffed in Istanbul. The straits are closed to Russian warships. The fleet is bleeding in Novorossiysk. A Turkish-led multinational command now patrols the western Black Sea. And Washington just handed Ankara the fighter jet deal it's chased for years, in exchange for exactly this outcome. Russia's stranglehold didn't just loosen, it snapped. What does Russia do when its naval power is gone, its fleet is trapped, and the one country controlling the door just took a weapons deal from its adversary? That's not a rhetorical question. It's the strategic reality Putin now has to answer. Is there any scenario in which Russia rebuilds meaningful Black Sea power before a ceasefire forces the current lines to freeze? And if Turkey's Maritime Component Command becomes permanent after a peace deal, does that mean the West has finally secured the Black Sea for a generation, or simply created a new flashpoint Russia will spend the next decade trying to break? What do you think? Tell me in the comments.